What's up? What's up? Top of the morning, top of the morning. And of course, welcome to the Arthmos Experience. And it is time for another game recap, man. I got the homie Mark Bergin, the WRAL Channel 5 producer down in Raleigh, North Carolina, joining this beautiful morning. Following this final preseason game, Steelers taking care of business 19-10 on the road. But good to see you, man. How are we doing this morning, man?
Arthur, I'm alive and well, and I think we can all breathe a collective sigh of relief. It looks like
Ooh.
Derek Harmon's going to be all right. I thought the worst. I went to dark places last night, and it's like, this isn't happening again with the Steelers' first-round pick. Carted off, but then he's back on the bench joking around with his teammates. I'd expect him to miss a few weeks, maybe to start the season, but it looks like he's not going to be lost for the duration of the season, which is what it looked like when I was watching last night's game, the Steelers preseason finale.
Hey, dodged a major bullet right there. Absolutely, absolutely, man. But always good to see you on a day like the day. The guy's back though, man. So where should we start today? Where should we start today? I mean, because there's plenty that we can discuss about last night's opportunity, last night's performance, man. Whether we're looking at preseason winners, guys that we thought from a positional battle standpoint might have taken a step ahead. I mean, we could talk quarterback if you would like to, man. That QB2, QB3 scenario. But what's your energy on those things, man?
Let's start with Harmon, because I think that's the biggest news out of last night's game. What I want to ask you, Arthur, is do you think that this has any bearing or any impact at all on Cam Heyward's continued contract renegotiations?
Ooh.
Because I know Cam is now practicing again, but would he then go back to an opportunity to say, look, if your rookie isn't playing, so that's one less starter. It's one less starter that you have. I don't know if that's just totally resolved now that we saw Cameron Heyward practicing again this past week in advance of this game, or if that is just an open and closed door. How that plays out between now and the start of the regular season over the course of these next 2 weeks or so, that to me is what I'm looking at. And so that's the biggest question I have about the Pittsburgh Steelers after last night's game.
No, I could definitely see that. And honestly, man, when you're looking at Cam, it was interesting to see him show back up to practice. Nobody got any reports of an amended contract or anything, right? So what made him say, all right, I'm done with my stance on wanting more money. I'm willing to actually show back up. But I do think it would kind of be viewed negatively if now, he reverses course after showing up and he's like, all right, guys, I'm back to holding out. I'm back to wanting more money. I just don't think that will be the best course of action, but we don't know what took place for him to show back up, because up until these reports, it seemed like he had his feet pretty much cemented down that he wasn't going to come out there until he felt like he was appreciated from a contractual standpoint. So this is definitely something to, kind of watch. But as long as Derek Harmon is clean in terms of MRI, as long as we can continue to be fine in terms of dodging that big bullet of surgery or missing for months, then yeah, I think the should still be fine with that.
In $14.5 million he's owed, I view it as if he were out as a free agent right now, it's not that I don't believe he would be signed, but I don't know if he'd be signed for $14.5 million. So that's something else to keep in mind when it comes to the Cam Heyward contract situation.
Hey, look, I like how you brought that up on your game preview as well. I mean, I saw a lot of people tuning in on the game preview. Y'all definitely should check it out whenever Mark is doing those things, because he knows what he's talking about. But yeah, man, you brought it up and I'm like, ooh, this is interesting. I like where you're going with this. I see the angles here.
Well, remember, too, he hasn't spoken with reporters about this, so he didn't speak at all after when he was in practice, in full pads, not just, team drills or, position drills, going man-on-man with the team. He didn't speak after the practice, so we can only speculate right now until he has the opportunity to address some of those questions. I'd imagine if he and Pittsburgh are just going to ride this out, that Arthur, we know they're PR people in terms of how we want to, I don't want to say spin it, but how we want to deliver the message to the public.
Who won? You know that.
Oh, who? Yeah, that question's coming. That question's coming.
Who won the argument? Who won this negotiation? That's what we all want to know. That's what he's waiting on.
This is where I want to put my reporter hat on for just a second, Arthur. I don't want it to say like, oh, the reporters have bosses to answer to as well, whether it's their editors, whether it's informing the public at large of what is going on with this team. And to be able to do that, the team's interests aren't always what the reporters or media members' interests are. And so sometimes I will tell you this too, and this is sports we're talking about. This isn't something that's like, say, geopolitical, where we're determining people's lives in terms of life and death. I want to point that out.
This is entertainment, sports and entertainment. Yeah,
they have agendas as well in terms of best serving your readers, your listeners, or your viewers. And to be able to do that, you have to seek truth. And part of seeking truth a lot of times is accountability. So you can best believe a lot of those questions are coming whenever we get to see Cam Heyward speak in front of reporters and media members again, because that will come at some point in time, whether it's before week 1 of the regular season, whether it's after that game when the Steelers take on the Jets. But right now it's just opaque in terms of, I kind of have more questions than answers when it comes to the Cam Heyward contract situation.
Hey, look, I see you showing off that journalistic integrity and all that over there too, man. Salute to you. All right. I like that. I like it a lot. But yeah, this is one of those things, man. I think we're going to get some information, though. I think we should find some clarity, some type of whether this is put to rest completely or if it's going to kind of linger on. We'll find this out in the next couple of days, man. And more importantly, whenever we get an official report.
The very first thing. It's one other point. I mean, interrupt you, but there's one other thing is as soon as Derek Carman, where I'm like, if Derek Carman is lost for the season and you have less depth, I almost wanted to put it out there on X last night, but then I'm like, and that's the nature of the beast of the business. I'm sorry, hop back in here, but like that is the very first place where my brain went to last night.
Absolutely, because that does change everything, and that's why I'm like, is it officially official that, hey, Harmon is only going to miss X amount? Once we know that officially, I think that changes Cam's leverage. I think it changes a lot. But like you said, if it does happen to be something way different, right? Oh my gosh, that would have changed a lot of how we feel. And more importantly, I do think that might have budged Cam to have a different perspective on it. But as long as we dodge that bullet, we should be fine with it, because you got to have a personnel out there. And I think that's the one thing that Cam does know. Derek Carman is a capable player. If you sit out, it's not like we don't have anybody that can go out there and play. Derek Carman is a good player, man. So I think that for Cam, he understands that side of it also. But this is the business side. This is the trickiness of it, so to speak, man.
Yeah, and so we'll see. Arthur, I want to keep this on the defensive side of the ball, though. I
love it when you do that.
We're starting.
I appreciate when you do defense, man. And y'all hit the like button one time for the coach, and don't forget to subscribe. Yeah. Mark got us on defense today. We appreciate that over here. All right, from the heart.
I thought with the first team unit, with the varsity going up against all of the Panthers backups, not even your first or second string quarterback, 33 players for the Panthers did not play last night. 33. Yeah. I thought the tackling was sloppy. I thought the penalties were sloppy. And
we had 13 penalties? Oh,
but early on
in that first quarter, it was multiple penalties in all three phases.
It was nice to see players like a Jalen Warren and a Pat Freiermuth offensively, defensively. It was nice to see Jalen Ramsey and Deshaun Elliott and Patrick Queen and a lot of the players.
Slay out that thing. I said, we got a Darius Slay sighting. We got Darius Slay out here, ladies and gents. Let's go.
I thought the tackling was sloppy, and it's just like, and here's how I knew. I live in North Carolina. This is where I'm like, this isn't good for Pittsburgh. It probably does not mean anything come regular season. But this is how I knew it was bad, because it was Jack Plummer in last night's game. Steve Smith, who should be in the Hall of Fame on the Panthers broadcast. That's what I have in North Carolina. He's calling him Jake Plummer for part of the game, and they have to correct him. And it's just like, Wait a second. If it were Jake Plummer, maybe I'd feel better about him going up and down on the Steelers.
God bless Steve Smith Hart, man.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
But the thing that I will say, to agree with you, the tackling for sure was horrendous to say the least with that first unit. But just as a guy who's been out there in those scenarios, you don't justify it. But for sure, when you're that level veteran and you know you're going to be gauged and graded on this season, that preseason game versus that competition, your mindset is do not get hurt. Do not have somebody roll up on my legs. Do not have somebody that athletically probably should never be on the same playing field as me be the reason why I miss time or why my season becomes compromised. So you look, especially on that long explosive run that happened on the first, I think it was like the second play of the game. It's a lot of long arms being put out there and feet staying hot, and not a lot of engaging contact and more importantly being aggressive. But that's largely due to the fact that, when you come out there, and this is why me and you both agreed, if we were going to play starters and we want to see our guys, second preseason game, because you were going to get the other team's starters or comparable players. It doesn't benefit us watching the guys that were out there last night versus the Panthers unit that they put out there last night. I mean, shoot, you bring up Jack Plummer. I didn't get excited until I saw Bryce Perkins, and that's because of the UFL. I was like, oh, I remember this guy. We talked this guy. Yeah. Like, that was oh, it's Jimmy Ward. Oh, yeah, there we go. Like, so to me, that was kind of my mindset, and I just understood where they were coming from. I was just excited that they made it out healthy. But then that was the frustrating part to see Derek Harmon get carted off, because it was the reminder of this is why we said if you were going to play these guys, second preseason game. Now, injuries happen, and there isn't a guarantee that playing them in the second game would have mitigated that. But you just like to feel that your odds of something bad happening would be less due to the level of high quality athleticism that would be out there on the field.
You mentioned the athleticism, Arthur. Is there a big difference between someone who, say, is an NFL starter versus someone who is a backup or third string or someone trying to fight to get on the 53-man roster from a player
from
standpoint?
The start? So we'll say this, and this is with all due respect to any NFL player. This is with all due respect to any non-NFL player. Starter to second string, not that big of a drop off. Athletically, a lot of those twos can be starters elsewhere. It's just whether it's contractually where you were drafted at, opportunity, the business side can really affect you and impact you. When you start talking about practice squad, right? That group and traditional practice squad, we obviously know that the practice squad has morphed now where you can get veteran players, right? 9-10-year vets out there. That has definitely changed how we view practice squad. But when I was playing, and even prior to COVID, when the rules shifted, practice squad was typically exclusive for year 2 and under guys who had less than 3 to 6 games of playing experience. So you were typically seeing guys that maybe had athleticism, but mentally there were certain things blocking them, whether it was their ability to understand the playbook, decipher information, pre-snap, post-snap. But athletically, they still were close enough that, you can practice with these guys. And if we mix you in with the number 2 guys who are also going to take some of those practice reps, you should fit in. The problem is in the preseason, you got 90 guys on the roster. So we're not talking about 53 plus an additional 10 to 12. We're talking about an additional 20, 30 people that athletically wouldn't find a home even in practice squad rosters in regular seasons, right? Because just how many numbers there are. So that's when you start seeing guys that fall. When you fall on that football field, that is a higher chance of somebody getting hurt because they're going to trip over you. And we say you don't trip the athletes. And that's why even in training camp, you hardly ever see TJ Watt out there in training camp with the third unit. When Coach Tomlin puts out that third unit in training camp, it's 3s on 3s. It's rarely even certain 2s that don't even play out there because it's just not worth the risk, because those guys athletically are going to be limited. And even when you go to a collegiate level, you'll see it, but it's just different levels to it. NFL practice, guys don't touch the ground. NFL games, the only time you hit the ground is when you're tackling a guy. Man, you go to the high school, you go to the collegiate level, it's guys that'll fall, especially, as you start going down from Power 5, SEC, Big 10, Big 12. Now you start going down to the, mid majors. Okay, then you start to go to the FCS level, then the D2. It's like you start seeing more and more bodies on the ground, less athleticism. High school, think about a high school. I mean, this guy's falling all over the place. At this level, we feel like you should be able to run forward, backwards, left, right, be bumped. Doesn't matter if you're expecting it or not, but you should still have the contact balance and the wherewithal that you don't fall. You do not hit the ground. That's the mindset. So, yeah, there is a big difference when we're talking about some of those guys in this last preseason game that played in the late third and fourth quarter. Yes. And we say if you're a guy like, so to speak, Trey Sermon, and you're playing in that game in the fourth quarter, it should look like you do not belong out there. You should flash. Scotty Miller, if you're in this game, you should flash. You should stand out. And you look at those dudes, they flash. They stand out. It's certain guys that look like they don't belong out there all the way. And those are the guys that, yeah, they're not even starters. These are dudes that we're talking about maybe your RB4. But you can still see a difference. Even YA Black. We say YA Black isn't a great pass rusher. But versus that level of competition, maybe back-to-back sack, strip sack. Hey, man, do your big bad dance, baby, right? But that's just to show you the levels that it is. And we don't look at YA Black as a pass rusher. Not yet, not even close to that just yet. But versus that level of competition, even he is going to look like that. And that's just to give you a kind of a glimpse of the talent and how competitive it is at the highest level.
Stay up, Arthur, is what I would say with all of that.
Stay up. Absolutely, man. Don't trip the athletes, man.
You mentioned YA Black. Some people call linemen, whether offensive, defensive linemen, the big uglies. I say not so fast. They're the big sexies up front, Arthur. Oh, man.
Yeah. I'm all for the big grooving big men, showing some personality. And more importantly, man, big men like YA Black showing that in the right situation, I can be productive. In the right situation, I can work on some of these things. The bull rush, understanding when to come off of that bull rush. Those are just the little technique things. Eventually, everything else will continue to develop, but you want to see that. As a young player, you want to see them doing those little things, and it's showing up in stadium because it's going to validate that process and help them be more Cam Heyward like, where you're so fundamental that you can play 10, 12 years and your game ages perfectly. Versus guys that live exclusively on athleticism, and we see how they can fall off, within 2 to 3 years, because at this level, everybody's a great athlete.
Yeah, the technique's the biggest thing, and having some sort of combination of moves where it's like if you just try to run and go, you don't have the right technique is so important to be able to shed blocks. And look, I bring this up with defense all the time. A gap, B gap, that has to be sound, because if it's not,
every time,
everything else on out, it's fun to see Jalen Ramsey out there when TJ Watt plays in the regular season. A lot of the talent you have on the outside, if you don't have a stout interior, it's like building. Ike Taylor used to tell me this all the time. It's like building a house from the ground up. Yep. You have to have a solid foundation.
Absolutely. And that's the case. And you think about how the Steelers have tried to construct their roster. Trenches, right? You look at the amount of draft picks, early capital on O-line. You look at the amount of money that they've spent on D-line, even draft capital in terms of Derek Harmon and YA Black. They understand that you have to have the foundation. You have to have the trenches secured. And I think that if we can stay healthy, Kim obviously being a full participant as well, we should feel good. We should feel nice about the interior part of this D-line. But how you feel about these interior linebackers too, though? While we over here on the defense side, man, because 5'5" was, showing up a lot this preseason, man. I'm just got to ask you, man, how you feel about these ILBs?
I think you have a really solid 3-man rotation. I know what to expect. Queen, they're paying him, and then Peyton Wilson. Look, even on the big run they gave up on the very first drive, Peyton Wilson, in terms of
you see it,
like a lion hunting prey. Arthur,
in
terms of how fast
he
can run. It's like a guy. I think of like linebackers. I'm old school with like a neck roll and everything. This is not the new age linebacker.
Oh, Boswell. I see you.
I'm excited about that. I'm excited to see Holcomb contribute to this team too, given he's had a long, long road to recovery. And I think that you have a really solid mix of the three guys who I expect to play and contribute this year. A lot like you had a few years ago when it was, what was it? Quan Alexander, Holcomb, and
Oh,
then
yeah.
who is the third? Who was the third in that?
Was it Miles Jack the first go? No. This
No,
was
no.
because
They
Miles
had
ended up
what?
coming back later that year. You're right. It was a
It doesn't
third.
matter. They had
Yeah.
solid key contributors,
Mhm.
veteran players, but I think you have three solid guys with Queen kind of being your quote unquote star. And then the other two, I think, are solid players. Wilson should get better and better in his second NFL season. And then again, Holcomb, who has playing experience, just working his way back from injury. I get excited when I think about that because, forbid that there is an injury to one of those three, you still have two. And remember, Pittsburgh playing 3-4 base defense, you're going to need to have two solid guys, one on the strong side, one on the weak side. And then I think a big thing too with that, Arthur, is understanding how the other guy operates in terms of, again, gap assignments, alignment, and so forth. And so understanding how your counterpart, how your other inside linebacker works, it's a key part of this defense.
No, absolutely. And I mean, when I look at those guys, when you're talking Peyton Wilson, first off, the way that this guy plays, the effort, that's the thing that stands out to me the most. On that explosive run, I mean, it's easy in the preseason to, all right, I'm going to run, but I'm not going full tilt to go make that play 20 yards down the field in a meaningless game, right? In terms of for Peyton Wilson, meaningless, because we know he's gauged still off of everything he's going to do in season. But to still see him have that desire, because at this level, you still have to make the play. And that's the one thing that we always say on those type of plays and why you are supposed to chase without ever thinking twice. Don't assume somebody else is going to make the tackle. And you always typically have guys have that mindset. Somebody else will make the play. But to see Peyton Wilson continually put it on tape, regular season, postseason, preseason, it doesn't that you want. And I think that that's going to be contagious. He's one of those guys that I truly feel will be one of those breakout defenders, one of those breakout stars for our defense if he can stay healthy because of that type of effort, that type of confidence that you're seeing him play with. But the other thing, when you're bringing up Cole Holcomb, absolutely, man, his ability to come back from injury, but his athleticism not look like it took a hit in any way, shape, or form is the beautiful part. Because we remember how Devin Bush was pre-ACL, and then we talk about him post-ACL. That was not the same player. And we would try to come up with every reason, every, justification for why we weren't seeing what we wanted to see. But we can all point and say there was a difference between him pre versus post. So to me, watching Cole Holcomb come back and fly around and play with confidence and play fearless and not just look good versus the run, but also look good versus the pass, the change of direction. That's the stuff that's so encouraging because mentally, I know he knows what to see. I know this is a guy that is seen and played in a lot of football games. But now to have the athleticism also with that to me is a nice added and unexpected addition. Because I think we were all under the assumption that it was going to be Malik Harrison or even maybe a Mark Robinson, Carson Bruner type, because we didn't think that Cole Holcomb would even be back to this level. But to me, that's the dude that really, adds the nice spark, I feel like, to this linebacker core.
Yeah, let me add some weekend wisdom as we go into this
Let's
weekend.
go.
Now, the eye in the sky doesn't lie. I don't mean to kick a man while he's down when we're talking about Devin Bush, but you are spot on, Arthur, in terms of what he was pre-knee, pre-ACL, post-ACL. And I think about this too because Devin Bush was the highest draft pick during the Pittsburgh Steelers run with Mike Tomlin as head coach. And they traded up to number 10 to get him. And so I think about that of when it showed up on tape over and over and over again of like, wait a second, he was drafted to be what we all expected Ryan Shazier to be before his injury to fill that void. And that was the significance of signing Patrick Queen last off season because the Steelers have been trying to get that position right really since Shazier. And flashes of Devin Bush when he was a rookie, because when he was a rookie, it was different. It was just different. Now, you talk about Wilson as well. I think about the interception he had last season against the Ravens along the sidelines.
Absolutely.
I don't think that the Steelers have another linebacker on their roster who could run with the skill position player along the sidelines, have the body control and the understanding of where the ball is, and then to be able to rip that away from said skill position players. I do not think the Steelers have a linebacker on their roster who could have made that very same play, just in terms of the athleticism and knowing where the football is on that play.
Well, you got to remember,
those are the things you get excited about.
Length on them. Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and we saw that, at least on one play, it was a huge gain for the Panthers on that first drive. And you're like, what the heck? These are the Panthers' third and fourth stringers doing against this vaunted Steelers defense that has talent at every level of the defense. Why is this happening? Okay, like you said, Arthur, I think it's great player perspective where it's like, get out of this game clean, get out of this game injury-free. And I'm very glad you brought up the point earlier, too, where I don't want people to get confused in the Inzer chat to say, you guys were saying a week ago you thought that the players should have played, but then they shouldn't have played last night. What's the difference? Having a
big difference.
There's a big
Mark,
difference.
tell them big difference. Mark, tell them.
In terms of the talent you're going up against, I think that's very important. The Bucks played a lot more of their starters. Again, 33 of the Panthers players didn't play last night. And then number two, if you do have an injury, like, oh, what happened with Derek Harmon? You have another week to prepare in advance of the regular season to prepare and recover. So that's why we say what we say. I don't want people to try to use my argument against me or misconstrue what it is that we're trying to say when it comes to how the Steelers play their players in the preseason.
Like you said, big difference. And not to be that guy, but 33 Carolina Panthers players not playing. We don't expect the Panthers to be NFC Championship representatives or Super Bowl champions this year. So it's just kind of like, what are we even looking at right now, man? All right. So that is how it is at times. And shout out to the chat as well, man. They did give us some clarity when we were talking about that third linebacker, Landon Roberts. And then they also have brought up Devin Bush. Yeah, but it was a Landon Roberts. He was the third guy in that. Yep. That was his first year here during that time. Absolutely.
Landon Roberts and Robert Spillane in terms of going downhill.
On,
do you remember Spillane against Henry at the goal line? It was like a car crash, Arthur.
Yes. Hey, Spillane won that crash. He lost afterwards, but he won the crash, though. He won that one. We was like,
talk about endearing yourself to teammates. Oh, my Lord.
Wasn't that his first start? I was that was like his first like big opportunity, and he comes to and really smacks Derrick Henry. And from there, it's like,
full disclosure to the listeners and viewers. When I'm off the pod, what is Mark Bergin watching his free time? That play just on loop on replay in my living room, Arthur Moats.
He's like, yo, let me get some coffee. Spillane, boom. No, I love it right there, man. And shout out to Robert Spillane, man. We wish him nothing but the best, man. He's having a heck of a career, man. Absolutely. But now, is there anything else that we have on defense that you wanted to get on before we transition to the other side of the ball, man? Beanie Bishop, Brandon Echols, how you feeling about what those guys put on tape this preseason?
Well, I liked what Bishop did in the opener, but then this is something I'm looking at as you whittle down to the 53-man roster. And we talked about a little bit about this of, that the three corners you're going to have in Slay, Ramsey, Joey Porter Jr. I read something where it's like, well, this is going to be a big game for Beanie Bishop. But then as far as I know, he didn't play last night.
Didn't play. Yeah, didn't play. Mm-hmm.
When there's smoke, there's fire. I don't know.
I'm with you.
But if the Steelers were to outright cut him, this is a player who had 4 interceptions a year ago and I thought looked good in the opener. But not to play unless he secured his spot on the roster.
Well, because we did see Brandon, though, right? So that was the part where I'm like, well, are they saying that this is your opportunity to get tape out there, maybe show what you're capable of for another organization? I thought maybe that, but I'm with you. I was to not see Beanie at all.
Because here's the thing. It's like, yeah, I'd like to see him build on a 4 interception season. Okay, cool. Got that. But with the other 3 corners, it's like, what is his role and responsibility? He's not going to be able to play in the nickel or the slot. That's going to Ramsey.
They've clearly shown that. They've clearly showed that. Even last night, you saw it base. He's in middle of the field safety, sub package. He's in the slot. Like, they want him to get those reps.
So then it's like, is Beanie able to be your dime corner? Is he able to contribute on special teams? James Pierre, who had an interception last night, I'd imagine
he's a special teamer too, though.
Correct. So maybe the Steelers feel like, hey, we can only keep so many, but not to play Beanie Bishop at all. I'm trying to read the tea leaves of what does this mean, and again, coming out of last night's game, I guess the biggest theme is I have more questions than answers, is what I would say.
Mark, you hit it on the head when you first said it. He either secured the spot and is locked up, or that's about to be we appreciate you for all that you've done. We wish you nothing but the best going forward with all your services going ahead. Like, that's what that's gonna be. It's one or the other. Brandon echoes the other side, where it's like they either feel really good about you and they wanted to just see you with some of these other higher end guys, or we wanted to let you get one opportunity to put some more good tape out there. So now when we do what we have to do business wise, other teams are going to see you and look at you very fondly. And that is something that we talk about in these games. It's like some dudes are playing for the opportunity. Ben Sauls, you see how the specialists were excited about Ben Sauls. You saw, I think it was Coach Tomlin spoke on Ben Sauls. Why? Because you're not going to take Chris Boswell's job here, but you hitting 2 50+ yard field goals, you are going to get a job somewhere because of this. So you can see in certain areas where that is some of the intent behind this game as well.
Yeah, putting on tape. Your tape is your resume from the player standpoint. So I understand that. How you get to the 53-man roster, whether it's like, okay, if you have to decide between Eccles and Bishop, that will be,
that's tough.
Those are the things in this third preseason game where the coaching staff has to evaluate something that you can take away. But I keep going back to, you want to improve your craft and eventually try to make your way into a starter or contributor at your specific position. But special teams play is going to be a heck of a lot more important for what are we talking about here? The 4th or the 5th cornerback for the Steelers. But not to see Bishop at all. I was confused more than anything about that last night.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one there, man. Absolutely. So we're going to find those answers out, though, man. This whole weekend and all of next week, man, you'll be seeing all the up and down, who's moving and shaking and where they are going. So we will see with that. But now, if it's all right with you, man, let's transition to this other side of the ball, all right? Because you heard me at the beginning hinting about this quarterback situation. We heard Charlie Batch talking quarterback situation. I mean, all of us who's watching the broadcast, and it's like, all right now, it's 2 weeks in a row now. Somebody didn't put the ball in harm's way, and this is another week now where we've seen another guy kind of look explosive, look good, and was clean. What you doing? What's this quarterback situation looking like to you right now in terms of QB2, QB3?
QB2, it's Mason Rudolph. Like, here's the thing, Arthur, and I've said this before, follow the money. The money will tell you everything in terms of how teams evaluate players. It's going to be Rudolph. I'm glad they pulled Rudolph because it was like, I don't need him to force the issue to correct this interception, then to get hurt. I know Will Howard's not ready. And we like what we've seen from Skylar Thompson light up. It's meaningless in the preseason. So follow the money. Of course, it's going to be Mason Rudolph. When you get to QB3, what's the severity of Will Howard's injury? I'd imagine Will Howard is going to be your 3rd starter because you could keep Skylar Thompson on the practice squad. But remember, if another team says, hey, we want to sign Skylar Thompson, we can put him on our active roster immediately, you could poach. So keep an eye on that. I don't think the Steelers are going to want to do that with a player like Will Howard, where they spent a 6th-round pick. They spent draft capital on to be able to do that. But does he start?
I mean, does he
start the season on the injury?
Is a little bit different, though, right?
True. But does he start the season on the injured list? I also look at what the players say, and when I've seen Aaron Rodgers interviewed, he speaks highly of Will Howard. He doesn't have to do that as a veteran player. So I think the Steelers, I still think it's going to be obviously Rodgers. Rudolph, an interception in a meaningless preseason game against. There's not as much continuity either. So like, and what I mean by that is some of the players are playing, but not all of them. And the competition you're going against, you're not game planning. I don't read too much into that. Rudolph, I think it's still going to be Rodgers, Rudolph, Howard. Maybe you can keep Skylar Thompson on your practice squad for a little while. But I thought he looked good. I thought he looked good in all 3 games.
He definitely produced.
Would you do differently? Would you do differently, Arthur?
Honestly, yeah. I think that I get the money part of it in terms of, I think it was $4 million that was guaranteed to Mason Rudolph, and that's the part that I do agree. He's not getting cut. I'm not saying that in the least bit, but I am saying, yeah, I could see a scenario where Skylar Thompson gets the QB2 nod over a Mason Rudolph, just based off of what we were seeing. Absolutely.
All right, going back to my journalism.
Was more productive. One dude wasn't. One dude protected the ball. One dude didn't. I get the interception, and even on the interception, I'm looking at big picture. I'm like, it's cover 3. Where is the guy that's supposed to be in the flat to keep that corner either honest, or who's the guy that's supposed to have that vertical to keep that corner from staying over there in that area? That's all that situation was. But when I look at it, it's like, you still have to play. You still have the turnover, and this is still 2 weeks in a row where you had the turnover. That matters when you're in a competition. That matters when you're trying to prove who you are. And then when you have the guy behind you on back-to-back weeks throwing for 200 plus yards last week, 150, 100 whatever yards this week, touchdowns in both of these scenarios, and he shows that he has legs, and it's not a guy that has never played and has success at this level. Talked about him having starts. We talked about him starting a playoff game before. We've talked about this dude not ever looking like the moment is too big for him. I think that the organization is going to look at that. And I think for Skylar, I don't know how it ends, right? But what I will say is, as the player, you did exactly what you were supposed to do. You put hot stuff on tape all preseason, because organizationally, how confident do you feel in moving on from a Skylar Thompson and moving on from Skylar Thompson for a Will Howard that you did not see play one single preseason snap? Those are some of the things that I think of. It's like, I don't want to get rid of him. Right. I'm not saying you cut Will Howard, but those are the things where it's like, are you planning on taking a quarterback next year? Is Will Howard your quarterback of the future? Do you feel that confident in everything that you saw from Will Howard in, was it 2.5 weeks in training camp, OTAs, rookie mini camp? You're that confident to move on from Scott Thompson? I just think that that's a very tough decision to make like that, based off what we saw Skylar Thompson do in stadium these preseason games.
So full transparency to the listeners and the viewers of this, Arthur, I never took my journalism hat off.
I love when you keep the hat on. Let's go.
Yeah,
this is fun.
but that's called burying the lead, Arthur, because we're talking about Derek Harmon, which is the biggest takeaway. But Arthur, you kind of are. I'm not even say kind of. If you were putting Skylar Thompson at quarterback 2 for what you're paying Mason Rudolph, you still keep him on your roster. Mm-hmm. You are saying so long to Will Howard, because yes, you can keep 4, but again, I go back to, and this is to outline for the viewers why couldn't the Steelers.
Let's pause real quick though. I don't say keep 4 active. This is what I'm trying to see, and this is the business side of it. Are you pup listing? Are you trying to get Will Howard to at least be active roster for the opener? Then you can go injured reserve after your initial roster cut. So now you have the flexibility of, I can put him back at any point in time in season if I want to move in a different direction on Skylar. At any point in time, I can still do that. And it allows Will to be around in the meetings, the practices and stuff like that. I'm trying to see, how do you go that route? Because I agree with you. You can't put Will Howard on practice squad and just assume that every team out here is going to be okay with that and not try to poach him. I do think a team will look at him and say, the size, what he put on tape at Ohio State, the fact that we haven't seen anything negative because we haven't seen him play in these games. Of course, somebody is going to feel like, you know what, let's bring him over here and give him an opportunity. So that is the reason why I don't think you could just put him on practice squad. But this is why I look at Omar Khan and we say, yo, you get paid the big bucks to make these type of decisions, to figure out how you can justify either a pup list where he might miss, was it the first 6 weeks or whatever? It might be that. And maybe that buys you time to figure out some of your other roster movement. But as it stands today, I don't think you can keep 4 quarterbacks on an active roster. We can't keep 4 running backs on an active roster, right? You can't keep 6, 7 wide receivers at wide receiver. You can't keep that. Then we're looking on D-line like, hey, man, we're going to keep this guy, that. It's like, Nah, you can only have 53 of these guys. Somebody that is good is going to get sent home. We were just talking Beanie Bishop and Brandon Eccles. How do you have that debate? And then we're talking about keeping 4 quarterbacks just for the sake of, I just like them. And none of these guys we say we want to be the long-term answer today, definitively, right? We don't look at any of those quarterbacks and say, that's for sure our opening day starter in 2026. None of them. In fact, it's the opposite. People are like, we're going to draft a quarterback, right? We drafting a quarterback next year, aren't we? So those are all of the things that I'm looking at. Those are all the factors. And it's just like, I don't think it's this easy decision to make, but largely due to how well Skylar Thompson played. And that's why I do go back to him and I say, you did exactly what you were supposed to do. You threw a monkey wrench in this whole quarterback room equation with the way that he played, from my eyes.
Hey, and that's the roster finessing to be able to keep 4 for at least the next few weeks. Yeah. That's important for people watching on the live stream, people watching on YouTube, people listening to this show. That's not going to make the social clip, Arthur, but I needed you to explain your thought process with that, because if you're going to say Skylar Thompson should be QB2, you have to finesse something else
absolutely.
In terms of, because otherwise Will Howard's gone.
Right. Now, and you're not cutting Mason Rudolph. Mason Rudolph is not going to be cut this year. That's not happening. He has, was it $4 million in his pocket guaranteed? 2-year deal, but we know what they guaranteed.
Hey, and you flex the Skylar Thompson. You flex the Skylar Thompson starting a playoff game. Our boy Mason did the same thing. So, and I'm saying, don't dischange that. Don't shortchange that. And absolutely. So that's really important. That's really important. But so you're saying, but it's okay. Skylar Thompson, QB2. We're living in Arthur Moats world. That's he's got the keys to the Cadillac. Whether the Steelers actually do this, though, I would be shocked. I would be absolutely shocked. But the world where Skylar Thompson's
regardless is doomsday regardless. If Aaron Rodgers is not the quarterback for any regular season game this season, it is doomsday to me. It doesn't matter which name you throw in there. If Aaron Rodgers is not the starting quarterback each and every week this year, it's doomsday. Why isn't he out there? What has happened? Was he hurt, or is it the performance isn't what it needs to be? Or are we having the disgruntled? But either way, that's how I'm looking at it. That's how I'm coming into this season. I want to see Rodgers every week. I want Rodgers out there. That's the only guy I want to see play quarterback for the Steelers this year.
Are you? I got another question though when it comes to Skylar Thompson though. So if it shakes out how I would anticipate it to be Rodgers, Rudolph, Will Howard. If Thompson is on the practice squad and he gets poached by another team, are you going to be like, what gives? Like, I mean, obviously a player getting his opportunity, not faulting that, but are you going to be like, the Steelers should have finessed it in the way how you're suggesting?
No, because this is my thing. I'm just simply basing it on who I thought played well, who I thought played better between those two, just strictly football to football. If we take all the glitz and glamour, all the business, all the checks, all of the politics, and I'm just Arthur Moats, the football player, and I'm just watching these dudes, I thought Skylar Thompson played better. Period. Like, that's the end of the day with it.
Are you saying he played better, or he should be the backup?
I feel like he played better in terms of if Mason Rudolph and Skylar Thompson were in a competition. I think Skylar Thompson beat out Mason Rudolph for the QB2 spot. Is verbatim what I'm saying. Verbatim. Okay. So it's like, we could get into the politics of it, and that's where we talk QB2 versus QB3 in terms of the money side, and that's where you fall in with the money, and that's the politics side, and that's the business side, and that's why I was like, I don't have a lot of passion about who you keep in. Oh man, Skylar Thompson got poached off the practice squad. It's like, cool. Skylar Thompson to me is the equivalent of a Tyler Huntley. That's how I look at him.
Got you.
Good player, had a moment we can reference, but this is a journeyman. It's a backup. It's a rotational 2 to 3 best case scenario. If he's your long-term starter, your season is bad. We know this. And that's with all due respect to Skylar. But that still is a NFL job. That still is a role. QB2 matters because there is an occasion where you are going to have to come into that game. Hopefully it's not long, but there are times where you have to come into the game. And we might need you to bail this out. I think Mason and Skylar have both proven throughout their career that they're both capable of, in a small situation, they can get you out. They can do just enough to protect what you're trying to do. And as a backup quarterback, that's what you're looking for. But that's why those guys aren't getting paid $40 million. That's why we're looking at the contracts. We're like, yeah, they're getting guaranteed $4 million. Quarterback wise, we know this. Quarterback wise, that's chump change. So what we have to from my perspective, what I do is just taper my expectations and what I'm looking for them out of that role. And I look at that role and I say, well, who's somebody that if an injury were to happen and I needed to get out of a quarter, if I needed to get out the second half, can this guy do it with confidence? Can this guy do it with consistency? Can this guy do it where I don't feel handicapped? And I feel like Skylar and Mason showed we could do that. I just feel like Skylar did a better job of that this preseason.
All right. So for the aggregators out there, I would say Arthur Moats says Skylar Thompson should be QB2. No. In all seriousness.
Have me over here. Now I'm being a Skylar Thompson fan club over here. I'm like, man, I didn't even like Skylar like that because the game that he started, he was in Miami versus my Bills. You know how I feel. I'm like, yo, I don't even like this all the way, man. All right, we're going to be fully transparent here.
All right, so we got to the front. We got to the truth.
Yeah.
That's what this is all about, is how he performed against
He played better against Buffalo than Mason did, in my eyes, in both of those playoff games. Apples to apples, if we're going to be real, right? If we're going to be real, if we want to be real, apples to apples, both same situation, same stadium, same opponent, one play better than the other. And I was at both of the games. What are we saying? It's like,
oh, man. What I would say,
man, it's full circle, man. God, dog.
What I would say, you're making the argument Skylar Thompson outperformed Mason Rudolph.
Yes.
That's different than saying he should be the backup definitively. I got you, Arthur.
Yeah, that's it, man. I'm just simply off.
You've been waiting for this moment all preseason.
Just all what we saw. I like competition, man. That's my thing. Like, and that's why I was so big on Brandon Echols and Benny Bishop. It's like, I love to see players compete. I don't care if you're starter versus starter or the 3 versus the 3. I think at this level, this is the highest level of competition for us. So all of it matters. Heck, Cam Johnston and Corliss Waitman. We haven't even talked about that. That's a heck of a battle. And I didn't want to do it with the Mason argument, but I wanted to use your argument against you. Follow the money, except we know when it's veteran and young, cheap, inexpensive, if performance is close, we don't go with the money. We do what? We go with the cheaper option. I look at what Corliss Waitman did this preseason. Do you feel like Cam Johnston blew him out the water? Do you feel like Corliss was a bad punter, didn't punt? No, we thought he punted really well this preseason. We know he did all of last season.
When I was looking at the averages, it was above 50 yards net per punt. Closer to 60 than 50.
Net.
Yeah.
The net part, crazy, right?
I don't think
so.
When
we're talking about the money, but when we're talking the money, Cam Johnston, nice contract right now. That's the thing. I'm like, what is that about to do? How does that play out? Because I think that could get weird. I think it could really weird, man.
My thing is this: when it comes to special teams, though. If it is Corliss Waitman, cool. I know what I've seen. I've said I think both are NFL punters.
Yeah, absolutely.
If it does go wrong, if you have any issues whatsoever, and then it's just like, oh, well, we cheaped out here with punter.
We did that before, though. Jordan Berry, Presley Harvin. They were both kind of back and forth. Barry, we thought was a little bit more at that time, but Presley was the draft pick, a little bit younger, cheaper.
I wanted Presley to be good so badly.
I did too. That's my guy, man. That is my dude.
He had punter swag. I wanted him to be so bad, but when it was like a key moment in the game, and if you really watch football close, and it's like, yo, we need you to flip the field here for field positioning standpoint, it would be like a 30-yard punt. It's like, okay, let's just trot the defense out there and hopefully the defense can bail us out now. It's a really important component when it comes to football. I don't just look at punting, Arthur, as well. I'm not saying Boswell has to be all pro again, but we need him to be reliable. We need him to be very reliable when you cross the 50 in the placeholding is something else that I don't think gets talked about nearly often enough. Is Christian Kuntz going to be healthy with his injury? And I know, like we saw,
broke the sternum, right?
Yeah, with McQuaid filling in, Logan Lee a week ago in emergency duties. I've got to have Boswell be reliable, especially when It's week 1. It's week 2. And, the drive stalls because our Aaron Rodgers and DK Metcalf aren't on the same page because they didn't take a single snap together in the preseason. Okay, we got to trot out our field goal unit. I need that to be reliable if it's from like 45 yards. Need that to be reliable. So there are different components than just to say, this guy's got a huge leg and he can boom it down the field 80 yards. And this is another thing too, Arthur. When a punter outkicks his coverage and it's like, okay, he booms it down the field, but there's no one down there, and the return man can get, you boom an 80-yard punt.
Ball in the hand plus grass, bad scenario for the punt team. Bad scenario.
So do you think it's going to be Waitman? I mean, it's
so this is my thing.
Hang on. Before you
go for it. Yeah.
We talked about the DBs. Now we're talking about the punters. I love how it's like, who's going to be the Steelers receiver? Who's going to set it? That's probably what people care about most when it comes to position. No. This isn't the podcast for you. DBs. Now we're talking punting competition. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Arthur.
We're in the weeds with it, and I love it. But that's what we are, man. As long as we're having fun, I guess that's all that matters. But if you guys, the viewers, are enjoying it, don't forget to hit that like button one time for the culture, and of course, subscribe if you are new to the channel. To me, though, man, specifically the punting competition, that punting battle. As much as I would love to do the whole, let me just play the game of, all right, well, to win the argument with Mark, hey, man, if it's even, got to go cheaper. I do think specialists are different. And the reason being is you have a one-play series every time. You have to be perfect every single time. And even though last year, Corliss Waitman, I thought, did an excellent job, Cam Johnston's track record, his history is just better. It's more consistent. And you look at, when you're talking about projections, who do you want to take that chance on? If, like you said, you get into the season and either one of those punters play bad, you can live with Cam Johnston playing bad. Can you live with Corliss Waitman playing bad if you moved on from Cam Johnston because of 3 preseason games and what was taking place last season? I think that's a tougher pill to swallow. No different than if we were to move on because Ben Saul's hit from 50 plus multiple times. And we're like, you know what, Ben, you're cheaper, man. Let's go with Ben Saul's. And he has a bad season. We would not be okay with that. Not in the least bit. And I think that that's the same type of, perspective that I have with Cam Johnston. I think that it will ultimately be him getting the nod. But typically, when I look at the even part of a competition, usually the cheaper, younger option wins. But I do feel like with specialists, slightly different. They're almost, because of that one play, you have to be perfect. We don't get a redo with you. You go with what you know. You go with that proven commodity there not every single time, but 9 times out of 10, you go there.
I think you bring up a great point there, Arthur, in terms of being a bigger sample size. So Waitman's averages have outperformed what we've seen his ability to this point in his pro career. It's great. You love to see a player outperform and play better than he has, but would he be able to maintain or continue that excellence come regular season? You're paying Johnston to do that. Right. You're paying him to do that. So we shall see. Here's the thing is if Johnston doesn't get hurt last year, I don't even think we're having this discussion right now.
We're absolutely not. We never see Corliss Waitman. Corliss Waitman came back largely due to Cam Johnston getting hurt and us playing in Denver. And because Corliss had the connection of punting in Denver the year prior, that was why Coach Simon Danny Smith said on record, this is why we brought him in. It just so happened that he punted well, and then he kept punting well. And it was, okay, well, we don't want to have the non-consistency at that position or the revolving door there. So you find a guy, you stick with him. And that was that. But now that your main guy is back and he's healthy, I think that does make this situation different and slightly different also than when it was, I don't know if you remember back when Chris Boswell first came on the scene, but that was right around the time when Sean Sweesom was here. Sean Sweesom got hurt preseason game, Hall of Fame game, right on the janky turf. But from there, it was like, man, Sweesh was the guy. Sweesh was the guy that we all felt confidence in. But because of how everything played out, by the time you get to Boz, it's like, all right, we're feeling good. But the difference was Sweesh never was able to come back healthy So we never had to see those two guys in a kicking competition. Those two guys trying to figure out, do we go with the young guy Boz or do we stick with the proven guy who we've had confidence with? This is different because Cam Johnston is back punting, and he's back punting like normal. We're not surprised when we see Cam Johnston punt like this. This is what he does. Like you said, it's Corliss Waitman who we look and we're saying, man, you are kind of over exceeding expectations. Everything that you've done thus far doesn't support this. But if you can sustain it, maybe that changes a lot for you. But who's willing to take that chance versus the proven commodity in Cam Johnston? I think that's the tough part with it.
See, I think Waitman's reliable, but Johnston could be someone who flips the field and who is that the X factor, but can change field position in the game and be almost a weapon. Oh, Sean Sweesom, I'm so happy you brought this up.
You know, I gotta shout my teamers out, man. You know, I love me a special team guy, man. Yeah.
You know, I love a player who can lay the boom. He was a little bit different.
He gonna hit you now. He gonna for sure gonna hit you. For sure gonna hit you. Yeah. Absolutely, man.
Well, because most kickers and punters, and it's almost like let's protect them even more than a quarterback. But when your body is the weapon, Sean Sweesom, shout out, man.
Man.
He was very much one of the 11. I feel like a lot of times the specialists, it's like, oh, their own thing. No, I was a football player.
He's out there for sure. Yeah, for sure. Love Sweesh, man. Awesome dude, man. On and off the field, man. Good guy. And it is good to also see that the Yins chat, as you like to call it, are rocking out with what we got going on, man. Hollywood 931 says we football nerds too, baby. Let's talk long snappers. All right. So it is good to know that y'all are also in support of what we have going on here. Okay. And we did have a super chat that came in this morning. So we do appreciate you on that. Let's read that real quick from Mike Hood. He says, good morning, Mr. Moats and Mark. Let's not forget how Lenny Crickets, that's Kenny Pickett's alter ego for the chat. For those that don't know, that's what they call him. Looked in preseason. He says, Miami let Skylar Thompson go for a reason. Salute the chat goats. So he does bring us some good points right there. I mean, because specifically when we talked to Kenny Pickett, preseason performances, was that 2 years ago? Looked perfect, right? It was bombs. It was clean. Everything was nice. We even thought Matt Canada was going to be lighting it up. Everybody felt good. And then obviously we know when the season got here. With all due respect, man, don't get me in trouble. Mark. With all due respect,
so we were talking about the 5. We're talking about the 5 for 5 with Kenny Pickett.
Why you gotta laugh like that? You laughing like that make it look way worse. It makes it look way worse. You just gotta just straight face, Mark. Straight face. Just all right. Jeez, man.
This is not subjective at all. Matt Canada lighting it up, Arthur.
I'm just saying.
I'm sorry. It was a funny sentence. Hey, shout out, in all seriousness, shout out, Mike. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you for the comment. We appreciate that. I think he brings up a great point. This is why I say the preseason's like a war reenactment. Arthur, it is. I'm sorry.
Reenactment.
I'm sorry. Just...
Hey, man, it's too early for this, Mark. Oh, you got you.
Oh, man. I'm sorry. I derailed the show. My bad.
But that's the preseason, though, man. That is definitely the preseason. But yes, I understand. You can't go overboard with what you see in the preseason. I do agree with that. But I do also feel that you can only control what you can control. And what that means is this. Skylar Thompson is the only player to be released, right? This isn't Mason's only opportunity to be with the organization. He's left and had to come back. When I look at both of those guys, I'm not saying one is a world beater versus the other. Honestly, you could coin flip it, honestly. 2 days ago, this guy might have played better. 2 days later, this guy plays better. But that's who they are. That's why they are where they are career-wise. But what I am saying is if you're just simply exclusively looking at these 3 games that they played in, and we do, as you've heard me mention, how we would review film, just every single snap, plus, minus that player played, I feel like Skylar Thompson played better. And if 2 guys are in a competition and one guy outplays the other guy, who is the winner of said competition? Now, we can get into some of the other variables, and that's the contract, who do you feel more comfortable with in this scenario, who fits this part, and all these other things. But if we're just simply saying football player versus football player, which player performed better in these games, that's the guy that I'm pointing to, and I'm saying, yeah, he played better. And that's eyeball test. I already know statistically he did, but eyeball test as well. So which version do I want to, which metric do I want to, how do I want to justify my statement? That's how I do it. But I can understand where, when we're looking just from the money side of it, why we could take another approach to that. And I think that that's the beauty of where we are right now in this preseason.
Hey, and Arthur, I've seen you do film studies here on your channel as well. So if you want to know more about the X's and O's, the responsibilities of what the players' assignments are on certain plays, this isn't just someone who's at home looking at this. Someone who spent years,
watch tape,
years is an NFL linebacker. So I've seen you do that, Arthur. So when you tell me this, I perk up a little bit because I know that you know what you're talking about versus someone who can't distinguish, say, cover 2 or cover 3 defense versus man-to-man. When you're actually breaking down the film and watching all of that too. So I'm with you there. I did not mean to derail.
I appreciate that there, man. Yeah, no, you're good, man. Well, look, you're not derailing because we even got more people bringing us back to where we need to be. I think we were talking some more of this punt competition. We had another super chat that just came in from Rex7. We do appreciate you, Rex7, formerly known as Quan Black. He says, Corliss just gonna go back to producing beats. I got a funny story on how I bought one of the beats off BeatStars and then found out he was our punter. And this is very true. He actually does make music. That's his, like, I don't know if it was, I guess, will we say his main profession prior to punting, or was punting the main thing? But yeah, this is also true, man. So shout out to Corliss Waitman. The more you could do.
I didn't know that. And I know that Presley Harvin was a saxophone player. So it's like to be an NFL punter, you also have to double and moonlight as a musician.
They got their own little jazz club for punters and specialists. All right. This is where we hang out, but you got to create your own music. All right. Do you play a trumpet? We need a saxophone player. All right. Who a bass guitarist? All right. We're just looking for that next. Yeah.
Arthur, if you need a clarinet player, your boy was a first chair for several years.
Stop playing.
Yeah.
Clarinet?
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's go. Well, I got you on percussions. All right. I got you on percussions. You got us on the woodwind, man. We're gonna be all right there, baby.
I did not know that about Corliss Waitman. Hey, shout out to the super chat. I didn't know that. Did not know that.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. And then we did have another super that popped up from Austin Powervich. Says, I watch both of y'all's vids. Cool seeing the link up. Nah, man, salute to you supporting both of us, man, in terms of me and Mark, man. Obviously, Mark doing his thing, baby, and this is why we like him. All right, he knows what he's talking about. He's good. He real good.
I like it here as well. This is so much fun. And honestly, I want to ask you another thing, Arthur. Between now and week 1, we've got time. We've got, what is it, a week and a half, almost 2 weeks. Yeah. From a player standpoint, I know that you're going to watch a ton of film and game plan and get your body ready. What goes into this like week and a half to where it's like, I don't know if you could be over prepared as a player, but you have more time than you would normally have. It's 2+ weeks because, they won't play next week. They take a week off. Then you get to week 1 of the regular season. What do players do in advance of, okay, preseason's over now. Now we're into the regular season. What goes on during that time?
So I always have to start this off by, who are you? If you're a proven veteran guy that you know your roster spot is secured, whether that is because you're a starter, whether that's because contractually, we talked about certain players, right? Guaranteed money. If you're one of those guys, you treat this week as a bonus week. I'm going to do whatever I need to do to physically feel as good as I can, because I know once the season starts, it's only downhill from there. I'm only going to feel less and less 100% the further the season goes, because the wear and tear, the physicality, and just that, you know what I mean? It beats you up. It's a grind. So that's one of the things that you're doing. The other part you're trying to do is, man, since they've added this little bonus week, some dudes like, man, if I can get away for a little bit, if I can take a pseudo just weekend, let me unwind. You do that, because you know, once again, once the season gets here, it's a grind like no other. And if you are a team that fancies yourself as competitors and contenders, and you're chasing the confetti, that championship, you are going to make extra sacrifices that spill outside of your work hours. And if you're doing all of that, it weighs on you. So you try to get as much of that unplugged time as you can. And that's what you would do right now. Now, if you're one of those other guys, a younger player, a new player, a guy that's on the bubble, oh man, you're paranoid. Why? because the cut is never final. I've seen dudes where they've made final roster cuts. They've put out the official roster announcement. You go out to celebrate that night in Canada, of all places. Shout out to Toronto. And as you are in the middle of your celebration, his phone rings. They unfortunately have changed their mind because another guy got cut from a different organization that we didn't anticipate, but he's too valuable. We need him. So unfortunately, he's taking your roster spot. I've seen that. I've seen the whole we popping the bottles, celebrate, get on the couch, we turning up to, oh, the phone rings. Oh my God. Whoa. And now we don't want to party no more. That's that. So I've seen it where you don't do anything outside of lock yourself in the room. You go to the facility when you have to. But other than that, you're working out, watching tape, and praying to God your phone does not ring. Because there is no security. There is no guarantee, because just because they make the cut on Thursday or Friday, a guy can get cut or something can happen next Thursday or 2 Thursdays from now up until week 1. And now that roster spot that you thought was yours because you made the initial 53, it gets taken from you. And that to me is like one of the craziest things from an emotional standpoint. But those are the two, polar opposites when you're talking about this bonus week, so to speak, for guys. And that's why I'm always like, as a guy who was fortunate enough to live both, most guys you live one. It's like, yo, you never get a chance to have that. Man, I'm confident I can spend some time. I don't have to have that type of stress and anxiety. A lot of dudes live on that anxiety portion of it, man. But to graduate to the other side, it is truly a blessing. And that's the part where you're like, man, can we cut down the preseason? Right? We hear people say, man, why do we need preseason? That's when you get that argument popping up more and more. But when you're on the other side, you want 4 preseason games. There's guys that I talk to daily that want 4 or 5 preseason games because that gives them opportunities to make a case for themselves to get a job. And that's the non-entertaining side of the NFL, and that's the part that from player side part, we're a little bit more empathetic towards it. But at the same time, we understand it is an entertainment business, or it is an entertainment business.
What time did that phone call come when you were at the club?
Oh, it was late, middle of the night, late. Absolutely. And that was the part where we were all just like, this sucks, like major sucks, because you think when they put that initial roster out, and then I think it's 4:00 is supposed to be technically the close of business, that everything is done. But we all know, and I think that if you haven't realized that business gets done outside of business hours, just remind yourself whenever free agency opens up and you see these mega deals that take place the first 2 minutes of free agency opening up, and you're like, bro, this is the fastest negotiation period I've ever seen. Like, you called the guy, got the number done, got all the details, guarantees, exclusive, all in 2 minutes. Wow. No illegal tampering. Wow. So, this is just how it goes at this level. But absolutely, man, I will never forget that, man. Toronto, Canada. No lie. I'm just like, wow. Did this really just happen, man? Yeah.
I can't imagine getting a call like that in the middle of the night. Is because to be one thing to hear that it's like during business hours, but just taking that outside of whatever it is that you do, where it's like, hey, in the middle of the night, boom.
Mark, the way the vibes shifted. But this is the NFL, and when I tell you, there are certain things that, they do operate by the business or by the book when they have to, but there are certain things that they understand how to work around. They understand how to do what they need to do. That is the biggest thing about this level of business. The house never loses, man. All right, the house doesn't lose, and that's what you hear us say. Nobody's bigger than the Shield. You can argue with the Shield, you could try to expose the Shield, you can do whatever you want. The house doesn't lose. The Shield is undefeated. Nobody's bigger than the Shield. We could go down the list of whoever we want to say is a big name. Nobody is ever bigger than the Shield, man. And guys that forget that or think that they get that hard reminder, man. And I think that, that's just one of the things that you either can accept and say this is a part of working in this industry. And if you're okay with that, then okay. But for others, if you don't accept it, if you have major issues with that, then you understand that and don't work in it. But to me, I look at the compensation. I'm like, man, the type of money that y'all paying me, there's a lot of stuff that I'm willing to put up with because I know what the alternative was for me before getting this opportunity. So that's why you hardly ever hear me complain about it. But when we do reference it, it's more so to just kind of give you understanding of what does take place behind the scenes with some of these dudes.
What's the proximity of Toronto to Buffalo? Because I know Niagara
It's like
Falls is right there.
hour 15 minutes tops, man.
Yeah.
Depending on how fast you drive. Or I should say 90 minutes. It's 90 minutes, not but about an hour 45 realistically is what it should take. Is what it should take. But yeah.
The reason I'm in a good mood this morning, Arthur, we were talking some before the pot. I've never been to Canada before. I've heard excellent things about Toronto. Gonna be flying into Calgary. Gonna be at
Let's go
Lake Louise in January. So I'm excited about that to go ski. But man, I cannot imagine being out and about and enjoying yourself. You've worked hard to this point, and then boom, everything you've worked hard for is for naught.
Mark, I've seen guys lock themselves in hotel rooms, turn their phone off, and act like they're not home in hopes that would keep the Grim Reaper from coming.
The Fortress Grim Reaper
does. Yeah. Listen, the Grim Reaper does not have a schedule. The Grim Reaper doesn't have traditional business hours. All right. When Grim Reaper come knocking, he say, "Yo, coach, what do you say? You bring that playbook?" It don't matter who you are. All right. I've only seen one person, and to this day, throughout my 9-year professional career, I've only seen one person survive the Grim Reaper, and it was because it was an accidental, and that's Terrence Garvin. I've talked about the story on the show. Sitting right next to me, guy comes through, taps him, bring your playbook, and we're like, "Bro, whoa, you getting cut? Like, this is nuts." And he comes back, and they like, "Yo, he tapped the wrong guy. He didn't know he didn't know what I look like." I said, "Oh my God, what?" I swear, I can't forget this. I will never forget this to this day, because that's what locker mate. And that's why one of the reasons why we're so close, because we see so many, like, he saw some of my stuff that I was going through, and I'm literally watching that. We're like, whoa, like you go from a teary-eyed goodbyes, hugs, like, oh, to they did what? What? You mean that was a fake?
That's either like the worst April Fool's joke, or like, you remember the old MTV show Punk?
All right. Yep, absolutely. Yeah. Trust me. To this day, me and TG, to this day, we're like, bro, I'll never forget that, bro. Never forget. We've talked about it on the show before, but we'll never forget that, man. And the guy literally was like, "I apologize, man. I thought that was you." And he was like, "Bro, what?" Like he flipped on him. I'm like, "Yo, rightfully so." You deserve it. You make that mistake. Oh yeah, you deserve anything that comes from that, man. Because you're playing with a person's livelihood. You're playing with a person's life. Like, yeah. That's.
Did he have any other run-ins with whichever staffer goofed up there?
So I actually have not followed back up to ever ask that.
Okay.
Because I think it was just so crazy for that to have actually happened, because we have never, like, they don't make that mistake. I've never seen that mistake happen. And literally the dude was like, "Yo, I thought that was you." He was like, "No, man, absolutely not, man." It's like, what?
I would never let that person hear the end of it. I would never let the person hear the end of it.
But when I tell you during cut season, dudes do weird things where, okay, guys are hiding in the training room, or guys will stay, in the cafeteria, because they know, all right, they looking in the locker room for guys. If I don't show up in the locker room, maybe they can't get me. Like, they literally have that mindset. It's like, you can't run from it, though. If they're going to cut you, they're going to cut you, right? But that's the mindset. Man, I'm going to hide in the bathroom. If I hide there, they can't cut me. If they don't tell me, I can't. Hey, all right, I'm just wait till 4 o'clock. Hey, close the business. I'm good now. It's like, no, dude. But you see it. Like, I promise you, like, I don't see any of this is made up. It's like, no, you literally see this stuff happen, man. But that's the severity of it, because, man, this is dudes, their hopes and dreams. They spend their whole life trying to get to this point, and it's like you're on the cusp of it. You can feel it. You can taste it. And it's like, oh, no, it's gone now. And it's not, I have an alternative league to go play in. So that is the reason, man. But, yeah, man, shout out to my dog TG, though, man. Shout out to TG.
I'm glad at least one person has survived the Grim Reaper.
Yeah, I've seen one person. One person has been taken from the Grim, or taken by the Grim Reaper, and was able to make it back. Yep, I was like,
were you crying too? If that's your locker mate?
Look. Okay, back then I wasn't as open with my emotions, so I will say that it might have been some wind in the room, but did something fall? Probably not. I can't confirm nor deny, but there was some strong hugs. There was some real strong, like, "Hey, bro, you good? All right, hey, I got. Hey, I'm gonna hold it down. All right, we good." It was, what I mean. But it was like real disbelief, because man, at that stage, neither one, especially TG, was like, man, what are we talking about, man? Like, nah. So for him to even have come through it, it's like, this is a dude that we felt should have been, getting more opportunities on defense. We were like, man, we know we have Shazier, but it's like that big athletic dude, TG, was doing a lot of those similar things just in practice. And that's what we said about that second team guy. It's like, no, it's more for opportunities, man. Opportunities matter. Opportunities, belief in the system, like all of that matters. Where you get drafted matters. And when you come out matters. We always say, man, TG coming out now is way different linebacker than when he came out back then because of what you need it for. That's the premium. You want big coverage dudes that can run around. Back then, I need somebody that can, man, meet this dude in his A-gap real quick. Let me see you come downhill real quick. That's a different type of ass. So when I look at that, it was like, yeah, that was the part where we were just kind of like, wow, how did this happen? But it was really good to, see that the Grim Reaper, at least once in his life, has made a mistake. It was okay with, showing some accountability and returning my friend Timmy. Bring my friend back. Bring my dog back. I was so happy my dog came back. I was on a pet rally. All right. So I was hyped.
I just imagining it's like also if he goes into Kevin Colbert, the GM back there, goes, what are you doing here, man?
Why is he here?
What do you mean? Yeah.
Honestly, there are so many questions now that you're talking about it that I would have asked TG next time. Like, hey, bro,
follow up.
Because we followed up about the walk back down. I never asked him how it went in. He was like, yo, he grabbed the wrong dude. He mixed me up with somebody else. And I gave it the whole way back then. I'm like, you should have, man. I would have given it to him too. Like, yo, hey, bro, crazy. But I never actually asked him, like, yo, so when you walked in, like, what did Kevin Colbert say?
Hey, some more weekend wisdom. Some more weekend wisdom. The fortune is in the follow-up, Arthur.
Yes.
What are you doing here? What do you mean? What am I doing here?
You call me. No, I ain't call you. You sit him down and call you. Oh, my God. We got to find that out. You absolutely got to find that out, man. Because,
who's on first? What's on second?
We're going to find this out, man. All right. For sure, we're going to find this out. And we did have another super that did pop up as well, man. Do see y'all popping up, man. We do appreciate you guys today. This is from Justin Gordon. He says, sup, fellas, just tapped in. I only saw like the first series of defense. It looked like they were getting touched up by backups. Should we be concerned? Shout out to you, Justin Gordon. Like I said, we do appreciate the support for the channel, man, and just the vibes today on this here beautiful Friday morning, all right? But should we be concerned? Honestly, no. The only concern that you should have is Derek Harmon, how long we're going to not have him available. Is it 1-2 weeks? Is it 4 weeks? Like, that's the only thing that we have concerns with, because when you throw TJ Watt in this lineup, you throw Cam Heyward, you throw Alex Highsmith in this lineup, and you tell these dudes this matters. This is actually real life. It matters. And when you make these plays, it actually counts. We're going to keep it in the stats. You'll see a way different version. You're going to see a way different type of defense. But that's the other issue when it comes to preseason. It's just, as a guy that makes plays in regular season games, as a guy that has regular season stats, that's what you're compared to, it's hard to get up for a preseason game when you can go out there and have Ramsey could have 5 picks last night. Nobody's going to care because it's preseason. It's preseason. That's the part that all of us know. It's like, the pictures are going to look good. We'll be able to show the videos of it. The highlight is cool, but it's preseason. Like you said, it looks like the real thing, smells like the real thing, but it's a war reenactment, baby. All right. It's not the real thing. Okay. We all feel like Rambo is the best warrior out there, but Sylvester Stallone is not doing this in real life. Okay. We all think that Arnold Schwarzenegger could really beat a predator with his bare hands in the middle of the Congo. We get it. But this is not real life, okay? We get it. All right, it's a movie. It's Hollywood. We love The Equalizer. I love Denzel Washington. How you can click the watch, and listen. It's Hollywood, all right? It's a reenactment. It looks good, okay? But it ain't real. It ain't real. It ain't the real thing. And until you see the real thing, yeah, that's how you can tell the difference. So that's, for me, the energy that I have with all of it.
I love First Blood. What a great movie.
Come
Need
on,
to rewatch
man.
that.
Come on, man.
I love First Blood.
Come on.
They're all kind of progressively downhill from there, but the OG, the original, great movie.
Come on, man. Oh, Sly in the building, man. Yeah.
Yeah, it's what are we? We're an hour and 20 into this.
How did
the
we
receivers?
I blame you. I blame you.
No, that's okay. That's okay. The receiver, you talk about potentially bringing in someone from the outside of the organization, what that does to the other players in the organization. That is what I am watching. In addition to Derek Carman, the injury there, but that's what I'm watching is do the Steelers add another receiver? You mentioned Alex Highsmith, who we haven't seen in the preseason with injuries, with that groin injury. Calvin Austin III didn't play in the preseason. Someone that I think would be in the mix with DK, would be in the mix with Roman Wilson, is another receiver out there. I'm looking at that between now and week 1.
Yeah. We're on the same page. For sure, we are on the same page. Now, we did have another super that popped up, and it does kind of piggyback on just some of these things that we're talking about. But this is also from Brian Lee. Shout out to you, Brian Lee. He says, nobody talks about the advantages of the left-footed punter. Many turnovers off his foot for us. Going back to some of the competition between Corliss Waitman, who is a left-footed, versus Cam Johnson, who is right-footed. If I remember, make sure I'm not flip-flopping those two. But big difference in terms of left-footed versus right-footed punter is just the rotation of the ball. One's clockwise, other counterclockwise. One is dropping right to left, others left to right. So when you are the return man, when you're talking about your depth, where you want to align, sometimes if guys aren't aware that it's a left-footed punter, because not all guys detail their work, some guys are pros and not professionals, that can cause them to get in bad situations. And the turnover happens because now you're chasing to where the ball is punted to, and you don't get set up. You're not square under the football, turns of shoulders square, feet square, elbow secure. So when the ball drops, you're catching it into the breadbasket, or if you muff it, it falls directly in front and you can pick it back up. That's the reason why left-footed punters have success, because guys just don't detail it. So you're getting caught off guard. Whereas with right-footed punters, he's putting right to where you are. So you're comfortable. You're already in position. And now you just relaxed. All right, boom. So that's the big, in terms of some of the nerdy technical part of the, left foot versus right footed punter, and why left footed punters do seem to promote a little bit more of that. That is the reason with it.
Yeah, let me piggyback off that too. You don't catch a punt with your hands; you catch it with your feet in the positioning in terms of squaring it up.
Absolutely,
you're spot on there. So if you're in a position where you're compromised to where the rotation of the punt would fall out of your hands to where you'd fumble it, you don't have a good base of getting underneath the punt to be in a position to catch it smoothly. And then, okay, look, once you've secured the ball, go upfield and run. It's almost like, too, with the quarterback, when you talk about a right-handed quarterback, left-handed quarterback, similar in terms of the rotation of the ball, Arthur. And this is another thing, more weekend wisdom. People say, oh, well, he has bad hands. He has bad hands. No. You have bad eyes. You watch the ball into your hands. It's not your hands. It's making sure you watch the ball all the way in. It's having eyes to make sure I've secured the football before then making a football move, whether you're returning a punt or you're catching a pass.
The little details. You can't get tired of doing the little things. When you start focusing only on the one-handed, super crazy catch, but you forget just the routine here. Eyes, looking at it every time. Eyes, looking at it every time. Eyes. That is where you see the mess-ups, the mistakes.
The one thing I would say with all of this, if you're talking about a left-footed punter, left-handed quarterback, is the muscle memory of being so accustomed, because most people are right-handed.
The majority of them is right.
Yeah. So I could understand the muscle memory facet of it, but at this level, I wouldn't think that
pro versus professional, man.
Yeah.
If you're a professional, you're going to detail your work. You're not going to be surprised that it's a left-footed punter, because you're going to already know on Monday that it's a left-footed punter that you're playing against, and you're going to make sure that even when you set up the jugs machine, the machine that punts and throws the football out, yes, friends, you can actually have it set for left-handed, left-footed. The rotation alters, the drop, the spin, everything changes. But you have to detail your work, and not everybody has that type of desire to, be professional. Some guys live with just being great athletes, and that's why the league average is what it is. If everybody did it to that degree, the league average would be 10 plus years. That's not the case. At this level, man, you do have guys that, no different than any career, any job, right? Some people are going to be overachievers. Some people are going to do it to the best of their abilities. Others are going to just do what they have to, and others are going to try to find ways to, can I get over here? Can I take it easy here? And it shows at this level. That's the only thing, because everybody is so gifted. Everybody's so talented. The ones that don't have that type of desire to be great and don't study the same way that they trust their athleticism, it shows. They don't have that technique, it shows. And that's why the league has such high turnover rate.
I would be curious if there was like a study done that would show that left-footed punters cause more fumbles than right. Yeah. That's something I want to see aggregated.
Yeah, I want to see that. I think that would be a cool aggregation. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you on that, man, because it is a cool, like, I think in theory, I can understand where it would come from, because at least when I go off the top of my head, I can traditionally just think of that and think of the difficulties of it. But it would be interesting to see the data with it. For sure it would be. And man, I see another what y'all here I was, Mark, thinking it was a Friday morning after the last preseason game. Wasn't anybody gonna be on with us. It was just gonna be me, you up here talking to ourselves, man. Here we go, getting supers, man. Y'all showing up, man. We appreciate y'all. Hit the like button for yourselves. Don't forget to subscribe either if you're new to the channel. We do greatly appreciate you. And this is God's Tacos 23. Loves God's Tacos. I'm a taco guy. I don't know about yourself, Mark. All right, taco me, please. Okay, but he says an unsung hero for him this preseason has been Spencer Anderson. Shout out to Spencer Anderson. Says at left guard, he's looked amazing filling in for Isaac Seumalo. I'm hoping he makes the roster spot, or I'm hoping he makes the roster. I think, yeah, when you're talking Spencer Anderson and Calvin Anderson, those two dudes are our most reliable, highest confident backups that we have right now in terms of the offensive line. Positional flexibility. Obviously, Andres Pete is another guy you throw in the equation too. But those are the dudes that we feel confident in terms of having high quality backup guys, because injuries happen, guys not playing well happens. I think that Calvin, Spencer, those dudes are going to be here. Like, they played well. Spencer Anderson is for sure played well. And Spencer Anderson is also a guy that's played well in games where he's had to have some spot opportunities. And I think that that's the thing that when you're looking at him and you say, I don't need you to be a full-time starter, but could you come in a situation next to a Frazier, next to a Broderick? Or is that you're coming into a scenario where you're next to a Troy Fautanu and a Zach Frazier? Like, as long as I got two pieces around you, you're good enough. And I think that that's the thing that Spencer has shown. And I think that that's why he's still been here, and why, like I said, Ben, you hear us kind of talking about him how we're talking about him right now, at least from my eyes. What about you, though, Mark?
Yeah, I go back to that very first preseason game where I thought Rudolph had clean pockets to do that A gap, B gap, the protection up front. When we talk about Seumalo as the veteran of this group, I didn't see a drop off. And so that's the big thing is I'm fine with Seumalo having a country club style training camp in preseason, a lot like we talk about that when Cam Heyward, where it's like save a player who's going to play with that physicality from himself, because when a player like Seumalo or Cam Heyward steps between the lines, they're going to go 110%. I didn't see a drop off when Anderson was in there getting most of the reps this preseason with that first team unit, with that first group. So yeah, having depth, I don't think you can ever have enough linemen, offensive or defensive linemen, because that physicality, that point of attack, those collisions that you get play after play after play, that accumulates over the course of a season. You want everyone to stay healthy, but if there is an injury, you want people to be reliable to where you don't miss a beat.
No, absolutely right on that, man. Absolutely. All right. Mark, what you got? Anything left, man? We are hour and 30 in this thing. We went deep today. What you got? Anything left before we go?
Hey, I want to give a shout out to you, Arthur, and congrats to the family. First kid in college. I seen this
officially
on your IG.
Moved in. Yeah, we had move-in day yesterday, man. Let's go, Bobby Mo. Officially, yeah. My oldest is in college now, man. Like on campus. It was a little bit rough last night. I tried to stay busy. I did some TV work. All right, I didn't want to think about it. So that's why I woke up this morning. I was like, you know what, Mark, let's get on real quick, Mark. I don't want to think about it just yet. All right. So, yeah.
Who was more emotional, you or your better half?
Ooh, honestly, I think it's a tie right now. We're doing the positive reinforcement stuff. If she sees me kind of quiet, hey, man, you did good. I'm proud of you. And I'm coming to, hey, girl, I see you over here. I see, all right, little college mama. All right, okay. Yeah. So we got that going on right now, but it's touch and go. All right, it's touch and go. At any point, you never know. All right, so just, yeah, bear with us. Bear with us on this emotional weekend.
Hey, go back for family weekend. If there's a mom's weekends or dad's weekends, those
absolutely.
Were always, I'm a University of Missouri grad, Arthur. Those weekends when family would come onto campus, to me, that was some of the most fun that I had during my undergrad.
Let's go. Well, I will say, I did enjoy, man. After the movie, me and wifey did get a chance to eat lunch on campus with the little lady. And I was like, man, all right. At least the food was good. Shout out to the food there. All right. So, we kind of got our good vibes, but it's just one of them things, man. So we're in new uncharted territories now. So TBD on the emotions going forward.
I got you. But hey, congrats to your fam though, too. That's a big deal. Arthur, what I'd say is we are gearing up here in Raleigh with the start of the Bill Belichick era. It's huge. We've got 2 games on the Thursday night. So this coming week, which is like, where has the summer gone? So we're fired up about that. One other thing too, your boy, I'm going to be running the half marathon here in Raleigh, City of Oaks in November. So gearing up my training for that. I've done it the last 2 years. I did the full 2 years ago. It almost killed me. My carcass was almost left on the Raleigh streets, Arthur. We're doing half. We're doing half again this year. 13.1 miles is plenty.
13.1 and it's the half? Oh my God. Oh my God. Thoughts and prayers. All right. You can have our support. All right. We sending all the support your way. Yeah. Thoughts and prayers. Whoo, child. That's a lot. I like it though, man. I like it. Well, Mark, awesome job today, man. Awesome show. Awesome vibe. Can't wait till we do this again. Because next time we do this, it's going to be real. It's no longer the war reenactments. We're going to be in the real thing, baby. And I can't wait. So hopefully if everybody enjoyed today's show, y'all hit the like button one time for the culture. And don't forget to subscribe either. What you got, baby?
Got one more thing. Next week, Arthur and I have got an interview I think that you guys are really going to like in advance of Steelers and Jets week 1. I'll leave it there.
Ooh, I see what you did there. You absolutely right. Absolutely right. So yes, definitely looking forward to all of that. So sounds like y'all better stay tuned, stay locked in. You don't want to miss any of it. But until next time, baby, you already know the drill. Peace. You